the children never said goodbye. And this is when all their problems started. It began with scratches on the wall. Thick, deep inlaid ones. Parents asked their children if they knew where the scratches had come from. They told them no. Glasses would break in the house. Once it sliced the mother's cheek. Blood streamed down her face and dripped into a glass of water. The mother asked the children if she knew why all the glasses in the house began to break. The children continued to say no. But when the demon manifested itself in front of the whole family at breakfast, asking them, "How was breakfast?" They all were quiet and shocked. The demon slammed its hand on the table and said, "Answer me!" The whole family said, Good, it's great, it's good." That's when the demon told them, "Good, I poisoned all of you," and then looked at the children and said, "That's for your lying." The family stayed there slumped over on all their chairs, both parents, both the children, until somebody found them 2 months later. I was watching my daughter ride her horse for the first time, and I was so proud. She rode that horse like she'd rode it 100 times before. But then the bad part happened. I guess the horse stumbled, and my little girl fell off and broke her neck while I screamed. And then I had to go ahead and euthanize the horse. It's hard working at a hospital when you're there working around all of these sick, dying people. And the more they die, the more of them you just keep on seeing. You see how long they linger around. Some of them you eventually stop seeing, but enough of them just linger around. And I don't know why. I wish I could tell someone this. Everybody asks me why I never laugh or smile at work. It's because I'm trying to remember the people that have died and the people who are alive. And I can't tell the difference until someone tells me sometimes. Because after all, it's a hospital, so everyone comes there to die. Everyone ends up there. Whether it be in the ER or just the morgue picked up from the street. Sometimes I can tell who's dead because the way they look. Their skull will be smashed open. Their ribcage might be caved in. They might have gunshot wounds, stab wounds, gashes, blood, torn open arms. Sometimes there's no head, and sometimes they're scrawling around on the floor for missing limbs. It's pretty obvious, right? But the people who died, people who just died, a normal death, in sleep or heart attack, or I've had coworkers ask me who am I talking to sometimes, and immediately I just say no one. It's the same way with the children. It's the same way with some of the doctors. It has been that way with a few doctors. It's been that way with a few nurses. It's been that way with a little bit of everybody who works at the hospital. Why do I continue to work at the hospital when I can see all this and no one else can? I find it interesting. It's like my own little sick game. My grandma used to always tell me that she was a witch. Well, when I got older, once I stayed with her, and where she lives, sort of in the middle of nowhere, I never ever believed her. I just always thought she was telling me something to be, I don't know, cute old grandma. But when I went to stay with her, and I watched her out the window walking around in the woods, mumbling stuff I've never heard before, and I don't know what she was saying, carrying a candle back and forth. That's when I believed her. That's when I believed her. And then, when I saw a shadow come out of nowhere, out of nothing, it's like it just came from the light of the candle, and there it was beside her walking. I really believed her. And then when it began to multiply, and it was a whole group of them, shadows just walking with her, and the candlelight reflecting their shadows against the trees, while she mumbled, I definitely believed her. Across the street, we had this guy who lived in my neighborhood for years, ever since I was a kid. Every now and then, when he would be coming home from work, he would look at someone, make eye contact for a second, and then start flipping out, yelling and screaming, running to his house until he got to his door, opened it fast, closed it fast, and locked it. This went on for years. After he would see a person, eventually, a day or so later, they would just be gone. You would never see them again. It was because they died. So I guess he could see people's death coming. Over the years, as I caught on to this, it made me scared to go outside. Because I never wanted to see that guy. I never wanted him to see me. And this is why I stay in my room all the time. I was making a food delivery, and when I got to the house, it didn't look like anybody lived there, but who am I to judge? So I went to the door, I knocked on it, no one answered. I called the phone number, and I heard a phone ring inside. I thought to myself, that's odd. So I waited a minute, I knocked on the door again, and this time, the door slowly came open, and it was dark inside, but it looked like nobody lived there. I rang the phone number again, and I heard the phone ringing. It sounded like it was coming from up the stairs. And a few minutes later, some man, holding the face light of the phone towards me, came running down the stairs, charging at me. I dropped that bag like hell and took off running. He chased me down the walkway. I got in my car and sped off. When I looked in my mirror, he was jumping back and forth in the street, yelling and screaming. I think it was some homeless guy who was old and crazy. I hate when my mom tells me to go to bed at night, and she doesn't know why. It's because every time I go in my room and I push the door open, there's always this man standing in the corner, waiting for me. I walk over to my bed, I get in it, smiling at me, with red eyes. His smile, it glows in the dark when she turns off the light and closes the door. And then I stay there all night until the morning, and she always wonders why am I just now falling asleep. Every day, whenever I go to bed, he's already waiting for me. He's just there. And then at some point of the night, when the sun's rising, he's just gone. I never see him leave. I hate when my mom tells me to go to bed at night. I can see him. She can't. And she won't believe me.
Well, it was zombies. And we couldn't stay in that van forever. And eventually, when they broke the glass, we had to get out. So we ran on over through the parking lot to the hotel doors. Ran up the stairs. Doors out, so no point in trying the elevator just to get stuck. They would get us anyway because how would we get the door closed? We went to the second floor, made our way to the third floor, finally got to the fourth floor. Started trying every single door. Some of the doors we opened already had zombies in them from people I guess never checked out before the turnover happened. Closed the door back, tried another door. Eventually we found one. They were on us though. They were on us fast. We had to move. We didn't have time to save anybody, even if we tried. These weren't the slow-moving kind. These were the kind that were still, well, let's just say, they moved pretty damn fast. We got inside that hotel room, and they came barricading through. It took 3 of us just to push them out and finally get the door locked and closed. But from there, they piled up outside the hotel door, and we all had to start making decisions. We want to let them in, fight, or jump over the balcony, be a part of them walking dead, flesh-eating, mindless, hungry for human flesh, or sacrifice yourself, be at peace. A few of us went over the balcony. Well, a few of us were too scared to die. And a few of us got eaten up whole. I guess I was one of the lucky ones. So I'm walking now too. The taste of flesh is on my tongue. I can't think about anything else. I don't know anything else. But you wouldn't understand me if I tried to tell you. Because it would only come out as I went camping. It's something I do all the time by myself, but this time is like no other time. I'm used to hearing the sounds of the forest at night around me, deers walking and whatnot, and I'm usually not bothered by bears. I was laying in my hammock, and right by my ear I heard something go I sat up real fast and I looked. There was nothing there. I didn't see anything. I grabbed the flashlight and moved it around. I heard something scurry into the woods. I took off running inside of the tent. I sat there and turned off the flashlight, listening to the sounds of the dark. And from all around it sounded like many footsteps that came running up on the tent. They were beating, rubbing their hands and rubbing and touching on the outsides of the tent. I heard laughing. I didn't know what the hell it was, but I was scared to bits. I thought if I was gonna die, either inside that tent or making a run for it. I decided to make a run for it. I ran out of the tent into the dark, carrying the flashlight. I heard it chasing me. I didn't look back though to see what it was, but I knew it was behind me, and the whole time I was running, I heard I couldn't tell from what direction it was coming from. I couldn't tell how close it was up on me, but thank God my car wasn't that far from my campsite. I jumped in my car, and I sped out of there, and I don't plan on going camping alone anymore. Again, I don't even think you can get me to do it with friends. My wife and I are not seeing eye to eye right now. Then again, I'm buried and she's still alive. I thought about burning my neighbor's house down, but he beat me to it. I was planning to murder my cousin when he came over to visit, but I didn't have to. He did it himself. Now I understand what he meant when he said, "I just want to be found." It's fun to go for a run in the woods, but it's not fun when you look back and you see you're being chased by a bear. My neighbor asked me if I could dog sit for him while he goes out of town for a few days. He told me it wouldn't be much work. All I'd have to do is just make sure the food bowl is full and the water bowl is full. I said okay. Besides, I never even noticed my neighbor having a dog. So I go over to house sit for him and watch his dog. I make sure the food bowl and water bowl is full and turn on the TV. So I'm there. It's been hours. I haven't seen the dog, I haven't heard the dog. But at some point, I look back at that food bowl and that water bowl, and they were both empty. The whole time I watched his house, that's how it was.
I would just fill up the bowl, fill up the water, go busy myself with something, and it would just be empty when I come back. I started to wonder, what the hell was I feeding? Was it a dog? It was dog food, and it was simple tap water, but I never saw this dog, never heard it make a sound, never heard nothing. That's what it sounded like every time I heard it in the kitchen cabinet. And then when I would go look to go see what it was, I would never see anything. Every time I would tell my parents I keep hearing something in the kitchen at night, they would laugh and ask me, what am I talking about? When I would show them the cabinet, there'd be nothing there for them to see. I still wonder, what was that sound coming from the kitchen cabinet? When I asked my grandpa if he was crying or laughing at my grandma's funeral, he just simply replied, "Ding dong, the witch is dead, the witch is dead, the witch is dead. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Thank goodness the witch is dead." I just stood there with my mouth open. What could I say behind that?